So yesterday I was talking about what's the one thing that is the constant throughout my entire life, even as a little child. There was always people running around talking to you. Some people have very narrow stories that in their own fear they're looking for company. Some people have grand, open, big, beautiful stories, and those were always the aunts and uncles I enjoyed their company. You see, I was talking about yesterday how I was baptized and the story began of me as a sinner. And none of that really mattered. I was a baby. And the point is that it did matter, because all the conversations and everything that people are saying around you and the prayers they're praying over you, what now is kind of like, looks like an incantation to me, that's a very subtle, slow process of capturing your awareness and limiting it and binding it to a character that you are told you are within a story that's supposed to be a greater story, a great narrative, right? The narrative of Jesus Christ, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and it all sounds so universal until you realize how damn parochial it really is. But what is the one constant in it all is that I was the knowing awareness the whole time. That I got to that point where I would watch a lot. Did you watch a lot? Were you the observer? You always just kind of sitting there watching everybody scurrying around, not having a clue what's motivating them. You were just the quiet, the observer, the watcher. Knowing awareness. That's who you are. And that, although within a bounded instrument called the body, and yet the body and all its indications show that awareness is boundless and always reaching out, discovering, curious. Just for the sake of curiosity. When you were a child, just curiosity, just for curiosity's sake. Slowly you get confined by the stories until at a certain point you see yourself as that character in the story, and you see life with that story overlay. I don't care if it's a Christian overlay, a Mormon overlay, and there's a God in a planet Kolot. I don't care if it's Jehovah's Witness. It really doesn't matter. Do you see how parochial, how limiting these stories are? And what these stories are about the organizations that perpetuate the story, and about the survival of the organizations that perpetuate the story, and the people that are kept in those stories by the fear narrative that is the underlying truth in these stories. So all that is required is the idea, the mere notion, and I encourage this, the mere notion that what you think and who you think you are and the story you think is occurring just might not have anything at all to do with reality, with life as it is. And it might be restricting the amount of beauty you see. And it's definitely restricting the sense in which you are here to make beauty, to create, to expand, to add just a little bit. You're not pre-planned. Your life isn't pre-planned. If you think your life is pre-planned, then you got to go to the pre-planned guy that tells you what the God that pre-plans everything, what his role is for you, his character. And normally that is the character that keeps the system going. It's the character that keeps giving to the church. It's the character that keeps believing, going out and trying to convince other people to come into the story. After all, we're so happy too. Woo-hoo-hoo. Not the case. You are that awareness, that knowing awareness. Now, once you're no longer bound to the stories are still occurring. People still telling the stories. You listen. You just don't add any belief. Don't add faith. And we're going to talk about that, because faith is the trap. Belief is the trap. And that's why we voted for the dimwit that's the president of the United States now. Because people believed, even God, it is said in the Jewish writings, the Book of Beginnings, the most God could bring itself to say about its creation was that it was good. It's good. I can work with this. This will work. Not perfect, not absolute. And people did not mess it up. You hear me? People didn't mess it up. That's a part of the bullshit story. Anyway, see, because what they want you to do, they want you to identify with your body, because once they got your body, your consciousness has to go with it, right? That's why they baptize your body. That's why they say sin was transferred in your body, because they want to lay claim to your body. Women understand this. This is how these patriarchal systems have kept suppressing women, because their books want to also own the bodies of women. These fanciful stories are coming to an end. But there is, when these things come to an end, they don't come to an end nicely, unfortunately. When you begin to shed beliefs, there's some struggle involved there, because you don't realize how inculcated these beliefs, these ideas have seeped into your life. So that by default, you don't even see things what is. You see something and you interpret it according to a dream, because that's what faith is. It's just a dream. Now you get glimpses, right? You get glimpses. You go somewhere in the grandeur of a Yosemite or the Grand Canyon, or you're sitting out in a starry night, and you get glimpses. And those glimpses impress you because they appear, for once, something shows up that's bigger than the story you're telling. Magic shows up. Guess. I'll give you one guess who the magic is. We'll talk more about magic and all kinds of other stuff. You got a question? Go ahead and just put it down below. I'll answer it as best I can. But it's not about absolutes, or this is absolutely right, or this is a journey. I just was driving, picking somebody up, and he says, oh, I'm off on the dirt road, and the road goes, and 3 roads go in different directions, and no signs. That's kind of what it is, right? Have a good day. Peace.